Pastor, you need to do this. You need to be online. I know the internet is flooded with stuff right now, live feeds and people ministering, but you and I need to minister to our people. So proud of so many of you for doing it. And it is exciting, and I get to see little glimpses of what each of you do. And I'm going to take 3 minutes, and I want to tell you just some real simple tricks and tips to getting good content online. Because if we can kind of make the media part of it transparent and people can actually listen to the preaching and listen to the ministry that's coming out of our hearts. Okay, first thing, live feed or pre-recorded. Go with pre-recorded if you can, because then you can fix mistakes. Live feed if you need to, but make sure you're set up for it, because there's nothing worse than a live feed that quits working halfway through. And the content is really important. We can't preach as long as we normally may. You know, if you preach for an hour and a half, you're probably going to have to shorten it to 20 minutes. And actually, if you incorporate some other elements, maybe a testimony, you've got all kinds of announcements and updates, and people want to know what's going on, and people are out of touch, the things that the church is doing to help, the things that we're doing for outreach, and all of those kind of things can be incorporated as well as worship. We can add more amazing content if we do pre-record and edit it together ahead of time. It's nice to have more than one person. If you can do that, you know, even you and your wife or whoever is handy, that you can talk, because people like to butt in on other people's conversations. Have you noticed that? That's what most of TV is about, really, the talking head stuff. And then there's some things that you got to watch for. You've got to have good composition. You've got to have good lighting. You've got to have good audio. Audio is really key, especially a lot of the people that listen to us have old brittle ears and they can't discern between the echoes and the reverbs. So you need to have a good microphone. I use this Sennheiser lapel mic and these wireless body packs. And the reason that we use, they're a little expensive, about $800 or something like that. But we use them because we're doing a lot of taping from like the backs of elephants or on trains or whatever it may be as we travel across Asia. But you can get something a lot cheaper, but a microphone, the closer to your mouth, the better off you are. If you got one of those Countrymen, that works good. Even a handheld, but somehow it has to be able to plug into your camera or your mobile device. I've also got this shot mic on top of my camera, which is a really good mic, and I've used it successfully in a lot of cases where there's not too much sound. Now, if you want a little ambient sound, that's a good way to do it. So if you're beside a river, which you're probably not, it's a good mic to use. Or, you know, I've used it on rooftops in Pakistan, and you kind of get the sounds of the, you know, thing going on there. And so it's handy that way. Composition, now this is really important. There's a rule called the law of thirds, and here we go. We'll just draw these lines of thirds across our screen, and you'll notice that if you put the eyes on the top third line, everything will look really comfortable. And if you're talking off to the side, you want to move back a little bit, put yourself on this third line, wherever it is, and so that you've got some lead room. Another really important part of composition is that the camera lens needs to be at the level of your eyes. I love my iPad, and I love my duct tape. So when you're shooting, it looks like you're actually talking to somebody face to face. Now remember, here, right there is the camera, not out here. This is just the monitor, and so don't get distracted with your funny looking self. The people that you're talking to are right there in that little dot. Sure enough, there you are. I see you in there. And you just speak to them because that's where they are receiving from you. If you're using a computer like a laptop, just, you know, put it up high enough so that you can get that height for the camera. And it usually looks like this if you're just doing it from your desk. And just pull this baby back until you get a nice, comfortable picture. And now, away we go. Not much better than looking up my nose. Hey, some of you have been looking up your nose. But don't ever post anything that's sideways. Just don't do it. My favorite lens is this 50mm Canon. It's fixed focal length. It's a portrait lens. But what it does is it'll blur the background. I'll notice that I don't have a whole lot of junk in the background. I got a few things back there. I'm in my basement. And it's good to just, again, make it as transparent as possible. If you just want to see a comfortable shot of you, you won't be able to blur the background if you're using a mobile device, because these cameras are just kind of capture everything sort of a deal. If you're going to pre-record stuff, you'll probably need some kind of video editing software, and I personally use LumaFusion on my iPad. It's a $30 program or whatever, and it edits video wonderfully. You can put stills in as well. You can add more audio. You can add all kinds of things and effects. You can put text on there. It's nice to be able to put your scripture up. Sometimes, and if you want to do that, it's good to just move over to the side a little bit so you've got a blank space there, and you can put your scripture right here, have it, pasted right there, put a little box around it, whatever, make it look good. You can do all that in a program like LumaFusion. Lighting is key. You don't need anything fancy. All you need is a window with natural light in front of you. So my camera is up against the glass of double glass doors here in my walkout basement, and then behind me is no windows. It's really key to not have any windows or bright lights behind you. If I turn around and the light's coming from behind me, I turn into a silhouette. Now this camera's trying really hard to put some light on my face, but your device, if you're just using a mobile phone or whatever, you just turn into a silhouette. So keep your lighting simple, but it's really important that you pay attention to it. Now, if I'm in my garage or something, I'll usually turn on a big floodlight and bounce it off the wall back at me. Don't shine it directly on me. Just use whatever you got. But listen, I encourage you to get a camera of some kind. Just about any camera can take amazing video nowadays, and it does much better. I wouldn't get a Handycam, a video camera. Get a DSLR or mirrorless camera for still pictures that has video capabilities. I mean, this little Canon will take 4K video. It's quite amazing. And if you want to get really fancy, you can take a 2-shot or whatever. I could set up my iPad off to the side and get a wide shot. A lot of times people want to know where you're at and what you're doing. A lot of times I'll just video at my kitchen table, particularly when I'm talking to our leaders across Asia with my Bible open there. It just makes for a really warm, comfy picture.